Hello, this is Mr. Roos, and today I'm going to now show you another video on how to draw parts using a parametric equation and geometric constraints. This is the tool that other teachers are going to use, such as math and design and art, where the students will develop a part and off of dimensions they can just change one dimension and the whole part will change. In addition to that, we're going to do more geometric constraints, which will help with the students' math. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw another part, like I showed you before. This part's going to be a little different than the one we did before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just draw a shape that I'm going to turn into an actual puzzle piece. Now what's cool about this program is you don't have to draw everything exactly correct the whole entire time. We have tools that can change and manipulate and make them correct. So what I'm going to do is we're going to incorporate a couple tools today. We're going to use parallel, and we use perpendicular, and I can also show you vertical and horizontal. Now, before we use vertical and horizontal, we have to understand the orientation of our drawing. Are we drawing this in the right format? Now if you look, this box is rotated and this is always changing, so this always is important to know, because when we choose horizontal and vertical, if this was changed, this is not vertical now, this is actually horizontal. So you have to understand where you're working in which format. So if I want to make this line horizontal, had to make sure this box is actually straight up top. Okay. Now if we rotate this, now we know that these are basically, they are now horizontal. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose parallel. This parallel to this. This parallel to this. This parallel to this. Okay. And I also want to make this vertical. See how that changes? Another tool we could actually use is equal. We can use this equal to this. And that's where I'm going to stop. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you parametric equations. What that means is if I change the dimension on one side, that the whole part will change accordingly to that, as long as you do your parametric equation the correct way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dimension one side, and we're going to start with the same cube size of 3/4 of an inch. So now what I want to do is I'm going to say, we know that this is going to be 3/4, this will be 3/4, this is 3/4, this is not 3/4. So what I'm going to do for this one, I'm going to change the dimension, but I'm not going to do the math on it. I'm going to click on this, and I know this is 3 blocks wide, so I'm going to say times 3. I'm going to now do this dimension, which will be this. Now this is going to say over constrain the sketch, because we've now dimensioned this side, the total length, and we've dimensioned these two parts. So this has to be 3/4 as well. So I'm going to cancel that. And I'll also do this side. It says, hey, you can't do this because we have actually made this side equal to this side using a geometric constraint. So we know that this part won't do anything unless I change this dimension. So now if I change this to 1, the whole part will change. But one thing I forgot to do is I forgot to dimension these sides right here. So what I'll do is I'll do a dimension for this, which will be the same as this. So now if I go back and I manipulate, say I want to manipulate this one, oh, you can't do that, hold on. I apologize, we have to actually dimension the one that's the origin part. So say this is 3. So it automatically changes our part. I'm going to bring this back down to 0.75, and everything changes accordingly. Like we did before, we'll finish the sketch. We'll go into extrude, and we can extrude that actually to match this. So if I was to change this part later in our puzzle, and I went back into my extrusion, I went to sketch 1, I right clicked and I said edit sketch, and I changed this again to 1, and I say finish sketch, it'll change the part's extrusion as well. I hope this helps you out a little bit more on your design process.